Hi, hey, we had a request from one of our customers who wanted to know how to change a flat with his roll-off. And he also said, hey, those videos you've done in the past, you did it up in a stand. So he thought that doing it on the ground was better. I'm not sure my bottom agrees, but yes, I'm down here where it would look like you when you're outside. I want to preface this by saying that if you've never changed a flat in your life before, that probably this is going to be a little bit above your pay grade. But if you have on your regular bikes in the past and you're comfortable, then this will seem very familiar. It's just the specific things for roll-offs. So we're going to do a little stop action where we're going to go back and show you what I meant by something, because it's really hard to see here. So we'll kind of get some pieces and they'll be in this video kind of showing you what the heck I'm talking about. So here we go. So if I wanted to take this wheel out, I'll say I had a flat tire, right? And what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to turn the shifter all the way, one way or the other. It doesn't matter which way, it just matters that you got all the way to one extreme or the other. And the idea is you'll know how to put that back on without a lot of fighting. You won't be in the middle of the adjustment, but this got moved and it'll be all screwed up, and yeah, then you'll have more of a problem. So now I've got it all the way one way. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to turn this screw thing here. This is for the external style of shifter. That's what this thing is. If yours looks like this, which all the ones that we do look like that. So I unscrewed this thumb screw thing and just pulled that off, and it just dangles there. Okay? Next, it's like a regular bike, right? I'm going to be undoing the quick release just by doing that. And then it's literally go like this. Let it fall out. Ta-da! I'm getting the chain out from under, so it's free now, and there, that's out of there, right? So let's take a look at this while we got it out here. So this thing is called an OEM 2 plate, and it's what we do every time we do a roll-off. There's going to be something that hides right there, either a silver bolt head, like a big fat one, or there's going to be if there's a disc brake back here, it's going to have what's called a monkey bone. And it's got like a little gap where this thing slides up in there and keeps the hub from rotating. It like locks it in place when you've got it in the right place. We'll show you an illustration here in a minute. So that's how that works. This thing, this little wheel here, when you turn that lever up there, that goes click, 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 and that's what actually does the shifting inside of here. The clicks are in this thing. They're not up there. You just feel them through there. All right, now I'm going to put it back in. And what I've got to do, this is the tricky part. The getting it out is easy. I fix my flat, like normally, but then I need to line this guy up with that either bolt head or the monkey bone little thing that sticks there, which we'll show you. And I also need to get the disc brake rotor up between the brake pads, which is a little tricky. It's like, I'll show you what we're trying to do in a minute. I'll get the parts out and you can kind of see them better than right now. So I'm grabbing this. So I lift this up. I'm kind of turning this so it's kind of lined up how I want it to be. But first thing first, what I'm going to do is this needs to be between the two pieces of chain. Okay, so you just go like that. And I'm going to go like this to give me some room to just lay that chain right down on the cog, like that. So now I come over here and kind of eye things a little bit. I'm hoping it kind of just falls into place. Like, see, I pulled back on this, I shoved down on that so it doesn't have tension on it. And now I'm kind of looking to see how are things going here. Does everything seem to be lining up right? I turned this guy a little bit to line up with where that monkey bone cutout is. And I'm just letting it kind of drop with gravity. Right? So we're getting close. Yeah, I just wiggled it and it popped right in. Doesn't always work out that way. A lot of times right in here and right down there, you're going to spend some time kind of looking and seeing if it's lined up properly. You don't want to force things and bend things. You want to like make sure that it's the right way, and then just like let the gravity of the bike kind of help you put it in place. So now I would see what I'm doing with my fingers. I got my pointer up here, I got my thumbs here. I'm just squeezing really hard to make sure that this is all the way up in the dropout slots. So there's no way that it's like sitting, the wheel sitting crooked. Okay? So once I got that and it feels like, yep, that's solid, I'm just going to go like this with the lever. It's locked into place. You want to feel like you're pressing hard enough so it leaves a little dent in your hand but doesn't hurt. You know, like just so it feels like you really put a little effort into this. So here's the last thing, and this can be kind of a pain sometimes. See these two holes here and those things? You're lining those up and just pushing them in. Like that, right? But a lot of times you get right here to this point where it looks like it's almost done, but it's kind of sitting crooked, like it doesn't want to slide on. It's like missing by a little bit. And that's when you need to go up to the shifter or have somebody, you know, a friend, because it's a long ways up there to reach, and have them wiggle the shifter just a little bit, like just wiggling it. And what's going on is it's moving this guy just a little bit till the hole in there that looks like a bolt head matches that, and it can slide together. It's just a little bit off sometimes. You need to fight with it. So again, line up those two holes. And I got lucky, it slid right into place. And then you just turn this little guy down, and that locks this thing on. That's it. So now it's back together. So that's how you would change the flat on one of these, how you get it apart, how you put it back together. Now we'll get into the nitty-gritty detail here in a second. Okay, so this is where we've got our props here to show you better what's going on. So when you're putting this back in, we're trying to line up on some roll-offs, not all. Some don't have a disc. But for the ones that do, they're a little trickier, so that's why I'm talking about it. So we're trying to get this rotor to go up inside of there. So here's what that looks like. Here's a rotor, and see how there's a gap in there where the brake pads go? What we're trying to do is get that to go like in there between those two brake pads. But what often happens is when you're trying to wiggle it up in there, it'll hit like that. And it's hard to see what's going on. So then you got to like reposition things till all of a sudden, whoop, it goes in. So that's one of the battles that you're fighting. But now you can kind of see what you're trying to accomplish. I think that makes it easier to do it. So here's the other piece. 99% of the time, we use, that's this thing right here. That's an OEM 2-plate. So I unbolt this face off from there, and I line it up so this arm coming down is in a good spot, and then I angle this to where it's going to go right here where this bolt is. So when you're trying to do this, this is what it looks like. There's a bolt on the inside, a bolt head like this. It's going to be in there like that, underneath this bolt. And what you're trying to do is line this guy up so it gets caught like that. If it's like this, the whole wheel is going to rotate and it's not going to do its job. So this has got to slide in and get captured like this. In this case, this has a disc brake, so they have a thing called a monkey bone here, which has got a little cutout to accomplish the same thing. It's like there's a bolt head sitting here that this is sliding up into. So you're trying to line this guy up, you're trying to line that guy up, and it takes a couple tries usually to like wiggle it and get everything lined up to go. I know it's probably 95 degrees, you just had a flat tire and you're tired, but that's what you're fighting with, and that's kind of the idea of what you're trying to accomplish. You may run into other versions of how this attaches. You know, there's an internal that's got a couple wires up here, a bunch of stuff. We don't really do those, so I'm not speaking to them because I don't have one to show you. But you might run into this. So that plate where it had to go up through this bolt, see how this has got a little key sticking out? Some trikes will have a really deep opening that goes up and down like this, where this guy goes. That just slides up into there and it does the same thing. It keeps it from being able to turn because that key is in the slot. Green Speeds would be an example of that. There's some others where they have a really deep slot. I think same way with Azub. So you might run into something like this. That's going to be down and they're going to slide it up. It's going to get caught in the really long dropout. And that'll be the stop that keeps the whole mechanism from rotating instead of the bolt head or the monkey bone.